Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Roughie's Football Show, sponsored by Arnold Clark. I'm Peter Martin, Alan Rough, Charlie Adam and Tam McManus here with us on this Friday, the penultimate day before we get to a weekend of football, the end of the season in the Scottish Premiership. And of course, thank you to you for supporting us all through the year. Don't forget, you can follow us on our Facebook, you can share the stream, and if you are on YouTube, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. We'd love you to do that and join the football family. And thanks for all your messages. Lots of banter and lots of great stuff throughout the entire season as well. It's been great reading out some of your messages too. So before we start, I feel it's only right and proper that I make an announcement. It's great sadness that I have to make the announcement that, Roughie, I'm no longer the best midfielder playing for PLZ Soccer because basically I watched in midweek and the three passes from the bulge next to you in that block were just outrageous. I mean, Charlie, 3 worldies. Your first one was outrageous. Your second one, I think, managed to take out 4 or 5 players when you curled it in to the path of the striker. I mean, what about the midweek? They must have been raving about it. You must have been happy with your contribution for Dundee.
No, listen, I said, Peter, that it's important that when you get into this position, you know, these are the big moments, and you have to hope that your so-called bigger players turn up. You know, myself, Cummins, who have, you know, the lads that have been at the top level, we need to try and perform. And lucky for me, the other night, you know, it come off, and we've got ourselves in a good position for tomorrow. But we can't take it lightly. We need to go there tomorrow at home and do a job and get into the final, and then hopefully rest up Sunday and look forward to see who we can get.
Tam, if Charlie had been playing behind you, you would have managed to get yourself 3 big moves, multi-million-pound moves, with the supply from his left peg. I mean, did you see the passes, Tam? They were outrageous.
I seen the highlights. Obviously, I was doing the Hibs game at the same time, but I seen the highlights. It was different class, and probably that's where I went wrong. It's never the guy like Charlie Adam playing behind me, so that's why I never got my big move. So that's just the way it goes sometimes. But no, it was different class. But they've got to make sure they finish the job tomorrow.
Yeah, well, within every line, Roughie, there's a kind of a positive message and then there's a negative one. And that's the headline for tonight's show. McManus says Brown wasn't good enough to give me the supply I needed when I was a youngster. Is that fair?
No good enough.
That's what he's saying. I mean, that's it. Thompson's left peg wasn't as good as Adams, and Brown was a dud. That's what I took from that, Roughie.
Yeah, I took that as well. But you know, get back to Charlie as well. You're talking about the 3 passes that Charlie had. I thought the second one was the good one. But do you know why I thought it was the good one? And I know if Charlie will remember this, because the ball actually bounced up and it was bouncing off his knees before he actually got it under control on that AstroTurf, you know, and it looked as if it was going to bobble away from him. And then all of a sudden, when he got it on the deck, then he obviously produced it. But it was, I didn't think the ball was going to come down quick enough for him.
Yeah. Charlie, can I ask you this question? And before we move on to the other football stuff that we want to talk about, I know it's kind of unsettling for you to hear us being so gracious with you because we're usually...
No, it's not unsettling, Peter. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's amazing.
But I want to ask you
it's amazing.
Peter's
it's amazing when you
all
go and
over
chap the manager's door, isn't it?
No, Charlie.
That's why you should be playing me. That's why you should be playing me. Yeah.
Exactly, Charlie. I'll never forget a couple of weeks ago you delivered the best line ever. Big games need big players. And there was that straight look in your face as well. And I thought, he's going to have to back that up. And boy, did you. Which one pleased you the most as a pass? Because 2 out of the 3 for me, I can't split. If I was a midfielder looking at them, I'd think 2 of them for me are absolutely top drawer.
No, I think the second one's probably the best one because you play it in between two centre backs, and the good thing for me is it was McGee never really had to break his stride. You know what I mean? He just had to take it on, poor first touch, and he had to slide tackle it into the goal. But it was a great finish, 2 great finishes from Jordan, and gave us a good chance. But let's say we're in a good position, but like Tam says, we need to finish it tomorrow and then worry about what happens next. But we've gave ourselves a good chance, and we're at home and we'll fancy ourselves.
Yeah, okay. We're going to get into the meat and bones of all the football chat, but I have to say, every now and then we get caned on this programme. I'm quite happy to take it myself. Charlie Hamilton says, Peter, that is a beezer of a haircut. You look like my granddad, and he passed away 40 years ago.
He just went and asked for a skin head and a fringe. A 0 at the sides and a 5 in the top. Terrific.
I know.
Been butchered.
I'm not bothering because I thought that's great. Charlie Hamilton, you look like my granddad, and he passed away 40 years ago. Okay, Charlie, I'm going to take that in the chin. It's an absolute howler of a haircut, but listen, who cares? It's fantastic. Let's just crack on. Scotland ticket allocations, Roughie, I'm just looking at it now. 2,600 tickets for the match against England at Wembley. I mean, somebody, you'll never believe this, somebody sent me a text the other day. They're saying, any chance of getting 2 tickets for Wembley for my pals? And I actually thought, reading this, I mean, who's getting the tickets? I mean, it's almost like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Roughie. It's a golden ticket. You'll be lucky to get one.
Yeah, even the Tartan Army guys who are there and travelling away are going to be disappointed. There's obviously a few of them, so they're going to be late.
What about the Hall of Fame guys?
Aye, but as I said to you the other day, the Mayor of London, there's always the fan zone at Trafalgar Square. He requested it's only for special people to turn up, and please don't come down there because you won't be welcome. Well, let's wait and see what happens there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a strange one, actually, Charlie, because the Mayor of London doesn't quite know what's going to be happening there, because Trafalgar Square, I mean, we're talking about trying to tell Rangers fans not to move from Ibrox to George Square. Celtic fans saying goodbye to Scott Brown the other night there. You're trying to tell people, look, do not do it, but some people just don't pay heed.
No, listen, you'll get one or two that want to listen, but there'll be a majority that won't listen, and it'll be the same tomorrow. There'll be the Rangers fans will want to go and enjoy that occasion because it's been so long, and rightly so. It's it's been a long, momentous time for winning the championship, but it's going to be difficult to stop it in the Tartan Army. 2,600. You may as well just give that to the NHS workers that have done extremely great jobs during this pandemic, because it's shocking, especially even the cup final as well. 300 tickets each. It's you're waste of time, and it's just a shame that we can't get more in. We can, but I don't think the government want to push it too far.
Yeah, here's a statement basically on the SFA's website about the Scottish Cup final as well, because obviously, we were hoping for more tickets for both sets of fans for that. Following dispensation from UEFA to allow a restricted number of fans to attend the Scottish Cup final, the SFA approached the government for 2,000 fans to be accommodated using the UEFA Euro 2020 stadium seating template. The Scottish government has confirmed that a 2-metre physical distancing configuration must be used, not the 1.5 metre configuration that will be in operation for Euro 2020. At 2-metre physical distancing, the number of spectators allowed to be hosted in the approved areas of the stadium reduces to 600 in total. That is 300 per club. We have notified both finalists, and while the number is less than anticipated, we look forward to a limited number of fans attending the cup final. Tam, that's a blow.
It's just embarrassing. 300 supporters. I just can't believe it. I mean, you look at there's a stadium of 51,000. It's just a joke, and I really feel sorry for a lot of Hibs supporters who've bought season tickets, who've backed the club with money, and they've not getting the opportunity to go. I think obviously it came out today that there were 60. I think 60 of the tickets will go to the players and staff. But I would have gave them all to the players and staff and their families. 60. What's that, one each or something? It's not a lot of tickets, and then 240 are going into a ballot. So, listen, it's not ideal. I thought they would do at least 2,000 or 3,000 each, which would have gave people a wee opportunity to go to a Scottish Cup final and get to their first kind of live game of the season. But isn't to be. I think 600 is a joke. But hopefully, as I said, the friends and families of the players and the staff can go, because it could be a once in a lifetime watching their sons or their pals in the Scottish Cup. So just need to wait and see, but I just wish it was more.
Yeah,
Tam,
absolutely. Hibs boss.
Sorry, I'm in agreement with you there. Is that then, does that come down with the Hibs fans, supporters group saying, well, why don't you just keep the whole 300 for the players' families and big sponsors of the football club instead of 240 fans, or do you think the fans will want to go?
I don't think they could have won it either way. I think supporters obviously want to go to the game. So I think obviously 240 into a ballot, there was 11,000, 12,000 season ticket holders. So the chances of you winning that ballot are pretty slim, but at least that you're in there with a chance, your name's in there. But I think some supporters will say, listen, don't bother putting my name in. I don't want to go give them to the players, give them to the staff. So just need to wait and see. But it's a bit of a mess, and I think Hibs are damned if they do, damned if they don't, in terms of giving all the tickets to the players and the families and the staff, or letting a small number of Hibs supporters in. So I don't really know how it's going to work out.
See that,
Hibs
Peter,
boss
see
Jack
that,
Ross
see that,
is.
Peter,
I'll
see
get
that
this
one
line
you
out
were
yet sooner
talking.
or later.
No, see that one you were talking about. One of the examples, the snooker. Was there 900 people? Were they sitting a meeting and a half? Were they sitting a meeting and a half away from each other in that hall?
No. They were allowed into that on the basis that they were part of this group of events that the researchers were looking into. Basically, you had to, first of all, be tested.
Cool.
Then, obviously, from there, you had to go through a certain rigorous process to go into I think it was a crucible, and then from there was other testing all the way through to go out of the crucible as well. So this research at the end of it would give basically the medical people an insight into COVID, its transmission, and whether it's safe actually to go into certain venues, whether it's inside or outside. So they were part of a research group, and this kind of couple of or 3 or 4 events that they were looking into to try and get some kind of insight into it. So that was the reasoning and the thinking behind that. And I don't think that comes into the category of SFA events. So listen, I hope that satisfies you, Roughie, my answer for it. Unless anybody else wants to jump in, here's Jack Ross.
I suppose there's been a lot of things over the last year and a half that at times I've understood, at times I've struggled to get my head around, and I can't quite understand the decision. I'm sure that there's always the case that people come out in the aftermath of MD complaining about the decision and point out why they're right and we're wrong. But I do find it baffling, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the whole thing's baffling. We're in a situation, Charlie, where, we're looking here and we want to try and get fans in. People want to try and get customers in. We all understand that. A lot of my sympathy goes with hospitality because obviously, a lot of my pals work in the nightclubs, work in pubs, lots of good mates from my early years, and they want to try and earn a living. And they're looking at these restrictions and thinking, how are we going to be able to make it worthwhile to get things open? Because, they're eager for everybody to get back in. And then we've got a situation, Charlie, where the UEFA Champions League is awarded to Portugal's Dragão Stadium. Portugal is in lockdown in certain areas. Portugal has got a restriction on it at the moment. People still have to wear masks. So basically, because Wembley wouldn't accommodate various VIPs inside the stadium, Wembley knocked back the chance to have the 12,000 supporters in there from Manchester City and Chelsea, who are in the same country. And now we're going to ship 12,000 over to Portugal. It makes absolutely no sense. I mean, we just seem to blunder from one stupid decision to the other.
Yeah, exactly. And, you think you'd want to keep it quite localised and, keep it in London. 2 set supporters can travel that way. But all of a sudden, people are getting on flights and that. It's been a disaster from start to finish in trying to get people into the grounds. It's an open air space. I think going back, I think we could possibly get maybe 500 into the playoff final if we can. It's difficult, and like I say, it's been a shambles from start to finish. And the quicker we can move forward, and we have to start, going with what we feel and moving on and getting proper supporters in. Is it going to be next season before we start doing that? Then, I really hope so. But at the moment, it is frustrating, and whoever's made that decision, obviously trying to keep the top brass at UEFA happy, because of, I think it was quarantine reasons coming into England. So we'll go to Portugal. I know you can fly into Portugal from Monday. The British people can. So yeah, it's a huge disappointment for Wembley in England. But at least there's going to be some supporters in the Champions League.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, we've got a weekend of interesting games in the Scottish Premiership. Here's what you've got to look forward to. It's going to be absolutely magnificent. Hibs against Celtic, Rangers, Aberdeen. It's title celebration day at Ibrox. The trophy will be there. The players will all be celebrating. St Johnstone against Livingston. And then on the Sunday, it's nail-biting time for that final playoff place. Hamilton against Kilmarnock, Motherwell against Ross County, and St Mirren against Dundee United. So over Saturday and Sunday, some tasty games. I'm going to be venturing through to Hibs against Celtic tomorrow. Gabriel will be there for Rangers against Aberdeen, and coming up later on, we're going to give you an indication of a great little documentary we've put together, Stopping the 10, the story of Rangers' season, and I'll give you details of that just shortly. But to Ibrox, what a day it's going to be, Charlie. It would be great if there was 50,000 in there for the fans to enjoy it. It's just not to be.
Yeah, no, it would. The place would have been bouncing. It might be on the outside, but on the inside, it's going to be difficult. The lads and the players, the manager, they'll enjoy it, but what I'm hearing is I don't think they can even enjoy it with their families. I don't even think their families are allowed to be there on the day, which is a huge shame, because they obviously put a lot of time and effort into it and allowing the lads to go and play and enjoy it and be successful. And you want your families to be part of it. But, they'll have to celebrate it together, but they will enjoy it. It's once in a lifetime opportunity. It could happen. You might never win it again. But these group of players and the management staff, they've been phenomenal the whole season, and they'll want to finish it on the right note, get to 102 points and be the Invincibles over the whole season. And if they can do that, it's been a tremendous season.
Yeah, and a nice touch from Steven Gerrard, Roughie, just mentioning that it would be lovely to share in the day with Walter Smith, who's not been well of late, and all our thoughts are still with him and all his family. It would be nothing better than the Rangers fans just seeing a lovely photograph of the two of them together. But Steven Gerrard says he's going to make sure that happens when Walter's fit and well enough to get back up on his feet.
Yeah, I think there's a few people at Rangers who should get that kind of recognition, and Walter's up there. There's no doubt about that. I personally think Alan McCoist's up there as well. I think if we all cast our memories back to the really bad times, Ali stood out, and was up there at every press conference, not talking about football, but talking about everything else that was happening at the club. And I think Walter, behind the scenes as well, has been very well documented that there has been phone calls between the two. So, no, I think there's a lot of people from the bad days to now the good days should be brought on board and congratulated for what they've done at the club. And it's basically Rangers people, not any of the outsiders that come in and made a mess of it. So, no, I think they all should be appreciated where they were and where they are now.
Yeah, it's a nice touch, actually. Good point you make there, Roughie. Charlie, Ali McCoist, I can remember, I think over a sustained period, of 1-2 years, of all the press conferences I was in, I think I could count on one hand how many times he was asked about football issues, because at that time, it was just chaos at the club, and Ali was having to defuse bombs right, left, and centre. What a nice! It's a good point that Roughie makes.
Yeah, I think like you say, Coisty probably started settled the ship a little bit from where it was, and I remember seeing an interview with his son in his arms at Ibrox and gave that speech when the Sandy Jardine passed away and things like that. People like that is what you remember in these days. Sandy Jardine, John Gregg, Ali McCoist, Walter Smith, Ian Durrant, Kenny McDowell, all played their part in where Rangers are back today. You know what I mean, at the top, and it's everybody's played their part in different aspects of it. You'll go and people like Graham Murray, who just steadied the ship at certain times in the season when it needed to be done. But all of a sudden now, the manager's had 3 years of relatively, good times in Europe, and that's all going to come tomorrow. And listen, I think there'll be a few tears. I think Dave King and people like Paul Murray have got to take a lot of responsibility in what they've done. Getting it away from Mike Ashley and Craig White and people like that who were involved before. So there'll be a lot of sentiment to certain individuals tomorrow. There'll be a few tears, without doubt. And the chairman, Douglas Park, will be, he'll be delighted. And the biggest thing I seen the Rangers manager speaking to yesterday, they can't stop. They need to move forward, and they'll have to do that next season and pre-season by signing a few good players and hoping to go and win it again.
Well, I'm sure when he walks out onto the field, he will have his chest puffed out. Steven Gerrard, it'll be one of his finest achievements as a manager. And he did mention yesterday that he did have a dream about this.
I think from the outside, not many people believed I was the right person. I understood people saying I was a rookie and I was inexperienced and the job was too big. I get all that. But when Rangers came, I mentioned the feeling. I had a vision. And I seen that opportunity to try and get to this point of becoming a champion and getting Rangers back where they belong.
Yep, and he's done that, Tam. Fair play to him, because we mentioned at the start of this season, whoever's second gets the sack.
Yeah, listen, there was enormous pressure on Steven Gerrard. There has been, I think, since he's came in the door at Ibrox. And as I said, a lot of people doubted him. A lot of people thought, he'd never won the league as a player. He'd no experience as a manager. But for me, I just felt, just looking at him, looking at his career, looking at the way he spoke the first few weeks he was in the door at Ibrox, I thought he'd be successful. I really did. And he would command the respect of players immediately because of what he'd achieved as a player. I think he's been well backed by the board. Some of the guys that Charlie mentioned there, they've put the money in their pocket and they've backed the manager. They've trusted him. And there was a few times during those 3 years where it was dicey. Let's not beat about the bush. It was touch and go where he was still going to be the manager of the club. And so they've backed him, they've trusted him, and they've gave him that third season. The first 2 seasons he never won anything at all. But the third season they backed him. He stopped 10 in a row, and he done that. So you've got to give credit to everyone at Ibrox, and you've got to give credit to the manager and the players, and they should go out and thoroughly enjoy their day tomorrow because they deserve it.
The one worry for tomorrow, Roughie, and I think everybody is looking at it, that that march from Ibrox to George Square, there will be some people who just won't pay heed to the advice that's coming from the government or indeed the police or indeed from within Ibrox.
Yeah, but I think in this time, I think Rangers have come out and told the fans, in those certain terms, it's a club that's going to suffer for this, whatever you do, and they've told them in no uncertain terms, not to do it. I know what you're saying, there will be people out there who will do it. It then puts a responsibility onto the police and how they handle it, and they'll be the ones that will get criticised if there's any things that happen during it. It won't be the actual individual people who turn up and do the march. So I think we're all hoping that the Rangers supporters can celebrate in their own neck of the woods and just enjoy the day. I think the game's going to be on the telly, so you can congregate now with some of your pals and whatever. But in a day like the weekend, you don't want any adverse publicity. So just enjoy the day, enjoy what the season has brought to everybody, and don't give it a bad image at the end of the day.
Yeah, the big thing is, Tam, to be perfectly honest with you, even though some people will, those who don't support Rangers will find it very difficult to suggest to their wife that they're going to bed about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, really, really early, because even then the fireworks will wake you up.
Yeah, listen, I think it's going to be, as I said earlier, the Rangers supporters deserve it. They've been in the doldrums for a long time, and they've took so much stick, so much abuse from their Celtic supporting pals at work or people, friends, and listen, they've stopped 10 in a row. It was a massive thing this season, either winning 10 in a row or stopping 10 in a row. So the explosion of relief and joy will be there tomorrow. And as I said, as long as you behave yourself, as Roughie said, so on the telly, you can get your few pals in your house, watch it with a beer and all that. It does people to do that. But if they're going to go and march from Ibrox to Josh Square, there's not much we can do about it.
Yeah, I wasn't suggesting that we somehow put up a barrier ourselves, Tam. I think we'll leave I think we'll leave the police to that.
You'll get the wooden boards in the windies.
Yeah, Roughie's manning the Celtic shop, which has got boards up as well. They've shut the Celtic shop in Argyle Street. The world's gone mad. Anyway, Rangers manager Steven Gerrard has this message for the supporters.
Obviously, the police and the government have put statements out. I think it's important that we try and follow them. I want them to enjoy themselves. Obviously, things have changed from the last time in terms of being in March. You are allowed to actually come out now, but I think it's important that they remain safe, follow the rules and the distance, but certainly enjoy the occasion. This is a significant moment in the club's history, and I want them to all enjoy themselves.
Yeah, I think they'll enjoy themselves, Stephen. That's an absolute stonewall certainty. As far as Steven Gerrard and the place in the Manager of the Year, listen, he's already picked up one, and he's in the SPFL running for the Manager of the Year. Here are the candidates released in the Manager of the Year for 2021. It's Callum Davidson, Steven Gerrard, David Martindale there, and John McGlynn. Charlie, what do you make of that selection?
Well, I think if you put John McGlynn in, you've obviously then have to put our manager in. That's why the vote is too early. Wraith have done well and they got promoted, but they finished third in the league. So I think it's far too early. But I do think Steven Gerrard will win it again. And, it's been a good week of trophies. He's won a few, and he'll want to keep adding to that on a personal level.
Yep. So it's Rangers against Aberdeen. Aberdeen, it's, I don't know, Tam, if you're an Aberdeen fan, you'd actually be sitting in a situation. No, absolutely not. You'd be thinking to yourself, this is another one.
Yeah, listen, I obviously seen them during the week against Hibs. I thought that Aberdeen actually played pretty well. The first half, they were the better team. Hibs got a goal against a run of play, Christian Doidge, but I thought Aberdeen were quite lively. They just, again, final third. They missed, I think, one good chance. The boy Hendry had a chance from 6 yards that blasted over the bar, but played a lot of nice football without really having that cutting edge, and I think it'll be the same again tomorrow. And I think Stephen Glass needs time in there. Obviously, he's got Scott Brown coming next year, which will be a massive help, but I think in the creative department, apart from Hedges, I think he needs to upgrade quite a lot of them in there. I don't think they're good enough, so I think he'll be looking at maybe bringing in 2 or 3 strikers and maybe some wide men. But it's not a game that I think Aberdeen fans will be looking forward to tomorrow. Rangers, will be hungry. It'll be last game of the season. They don't want to be party poopers kind of thing and ruin it for the supporters. They want to go out and put a good performance in and put a few past Aberdeen. So. And I think they will. I think I've went for 3-0, the Rangers. I think it'll be a comfortable day for them.
Yep, I agree with you on that, Tam. I think that's what I've gone for as well. In fact, I'll just check here right now. Rangers 3, Aberdeen 0. Roughie, what have you gone for?
I've gone for one less than that. I've gone for 2-0. I agree with Tam. I thought Aberdeen were a lot better against Hibs. Going forward, they created more chances than they had been creating for a wee while. I still think Rangers will get another clean sheet, but Rangers will just motor on, and I'm going to go 2-0.
Okay, and I have to tell you, Charlie, it's every prediction now is so crucial. Every goal that's scored is so crucial in this predictor. It is down to the wire. You could not have asked for a better finish in the head-to-head than we have in the predictor at the moment. I'll show you the scores shortly, but as far as Aberdeen are concerned, of course, they've been starting to assemble certain players and backroom staff. Alan Russell, one of them. Aberdeen have released a statement. Obviously, Alan Russell is with his brother got involved in something that I'm sure he could have done without. And the car crash that they were involved in has prompted England to let Alan Russell go as the striking coach. Aberdeen, would they follow suit? The club has now been made aware of all the circumstances surrounding a regrettable road traffic accident last year in which Alan was a passenger in the vehicle. He's deeply remorseful about the consequences of this incident for everyone involved. Having taken everything into consideration, we feel Alan made a serious error of judgment, but he took responsibility and has suffered the consequences. And he goes on to say, we believe everyone deserves the opportunity to redeem themselves by learning from the mistakes, and the club will be supporting Alan in his role as an assistant coach at Aberdeen, where he's already making a positive impact. So, Aberdeen standing by their man. The games that really do mean something. Oh, Charlie, I'll tell you, Hamilton against Kilmarnock. This is nervy. Kelly need to win, but destiny's not in their own hands.
No, that's what you didn't want in the last day of the season, was it? To blow a 2-goal lead against St Mirren at home is a bitter blow. But yeah, they're hoping that somebody can do them a favour and get them at the situation they're in. They've got somebody in Lafferty. Hamilton are all but buried, so they'll be hoping that they can go there and Hamilton have not down tools, but still disappointed with what's happened, and they can maybe nick it at a 1-0, but let's say when it's out your hands, it's very difficult. And I do think that Kilmarnock will win the game, but I think Ross County will get something at Motherwell.
Interesting, because I think Tommy Wright, if he had the chance, he would be changing this squad dramatically, and that will be the biggest pain for him. Listening to him in the aftermatch in midweek there, Tam, he was pulling his hair out. I mean, he was looking at the lead they had, the back line giving away goals that, had they won that match, destiny would have been in their own hands.
Yeah, listen, I think Tommy Wright's always been a guy who's built his teams on a very, very solid platform, a solid defence, and he's not got that at Kilmarnock. They're leaking goals alarmingly, and they're scoring goals just as well. They brought in Lafferty, and else I think they'd be down automatically if it wasn't for Lafferty's goals. So they're losing a lot of goals, but they're certainly carrying a threat. Greg Kelty scored another great goal the other night, and he's a good young player as well. So I think that I've been in the situation that Hamilton are in. You're relegated and you've got to play that last game. It is horrendous. It's just a game you could do without, and I think the heads will be down at the floor, and I think that Kilmarnock will win that game, and I think they'll win the game comfortably. I think I've went for Kilmarnock to win 3-1.
3-1. Okay, 3-1's. Yep. Okay. See where you're going with that, Tam. I have gone for Hamilton 1, Kilmarnock 2. Roughie, what about yourself?
Yeah, I'm the same. I think Lafferty will be a big player for them. He seems to be absolutely buzzing just now. I don't think Kilmarnock will be giving away goals as easy as what they did in midweek there. So I think the Hamilton dressing room must be, in a pretty downer as well about what's happening, and they'll all be thinking about their futures. So I'm going to go Kilmarnock 2-1 as well.
2-1 as well. Oh, well, we eventually got there. A bit long-winded in your answer, but nevertheless, we got there, Roughie. So, Motherwell, Ross County. Here's the interesting thing, Charlie, that you've just said there, which I wonder about. Sometimes when you get to the end of a season, there's a wee twist in the tail. I think it's coming at Fir Park. You think Ross County will at least get minimum a point or a win?
No, I think minimum a point. I think I'm going to go 1-1. I think they'll get a point. And it'll be Kilmarnock in the playoffs.
Yeah. Would you be? I mean, I'm not for a minute suggesting that the game is done and dusted. You're in a commanding lead at the moment. Which team would you prefer, Killie or Ross County?
Either. We're obviously confident. We're at 9 or 10 unbeaten now. We need to do our job tomorrow. We're going in with confidence. We'd look at whoever finishes 10th on the last day, or in that playoff on the last day has been on a bad run and struggling. Confidence might be a little bit low, and you've got to take responsibility of that. And we're at home first leg, hopefully, if we get through, and we try and take care of that. But no, I think we'd be confident against any team that we would play if we get through tomorrow.
Yeah, I mentioned that I think there's going to be a twist, Tam. I've gone for Motherwell 2, Ross County 1. This could be the scoreline that does me in for winning the whole predictor.
No, I looked at it myself, and I don't think Ross County will win the game. I think I've went for 2 each. I think that Ross County will just do enough. I think there'll be goals in the game. I think Motherwell during the week were shocking at the back. First half, they could have been 2 or 3 nothing down. And they came back strong in the second half. I just think Ross County will just do enough to get that point. But it wouldn't surprise me if Motherwell won. They're on a decent run under Alexander, but I've went for 2 each.
2 each, 4 goals. Roughie?
2-1 Motherwell.
Okay, that's
Why do you just keep copying Peter? They're doing it again.
Listen,
by the way,
can I just say something to you? Everything was above board. It was actually sent separately to our adjudicator. There's no jiggery-pokery. Roughie's gone for Motherwell to win 2-1, so it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out. Hibs against Celtic. Easter Road is perhaps fitting, Tam. Easter Road, after he started out there, Scott Brown at Hibs, and he finishes off as a Celtic player. It's his 620th game. Boy, it will be an emotional day at Easter Road for Scott Brown.
Yeah, it will be. I think it's a fitting, as you said, it's a fitting tribute to him. They go back to Easter Road. I think his last game for Hibs was against Celtic. So his last game for Celtic is going to be against Hibs. He came through the ranks at Hibs. He got Hibs a massive transfer fee, £4 million, which helped build the training ground they've got just now. So, the Hibs supporters, if they were in, would have gave him a standing ovation. He was a great servant for Hibs and made the club a lot of money. So, no, I'm looking forward to him. I think he'll play. He'll captain the team. And it'll be good to see him maybe going out with a goal. I don't know about Hibs tomorrow. I mean, Jack Ross is just after the phone to me and he wants me to play up front. That's how short they are of players and how they're wrapping their players in cotton wool. I think he'll play a very, very weak team. I think he's got to wrap your Boyles, your Nisbets, Gogic, Doyle. You can't play them but a week to go to the final. So I've went for Celtic to win 3-0. I think Celtic win the game comfortably. I don't think Hibs will bother a jot.
Yeah, I was surprised myself when obviously I'd spoken to a few people through at Easter Road, Roughie, and it's not often I go for Celtic to win by 6-0, but I just thought, the players that the players wouldn't it be amazing if I did say 6-0? But Roughie, I've gone 3-1 to Celtic.
I've gone Celtic as well, but since Tam said he's playing up front, I'd given Hibs a go, but I'm taking that away for them now. So I think I'll be.
What does he text on? Yeah. He's after.
No, I went 2-1 Celtic.
2-1 Celtic, okay. Fine. Obviously, from the point of view of Scott Brown, John Kennedy revealed that he had some final conversations with the Celtic captain.
It's been good, actually. I think it's one where you kind of take Scott for granted. Worked with him so long. He's been around everywhere. You just expect him to be there again. So I think we've kind of been savouring every moment with him. He's spending a lot of time around the staff and the building and kind of getting his last conversations with people. But it's been emotional as well. You look at him, even training today, thinking this will be your last session here at Lennoxtown. The game the other night was, had a bit of emotion in it as well.
Yeah. Charlie, it's one of those moments which will be coming to you, whether it's this season or next season, a season after, you just get to that point where you think, how will the old legs carry me? Scott Brown's got maybe, I think, a year of good football at Aberdeen, and I think he might go less and less in the final part of that 2-year deal, but it'll be emotional for him. He's been a great servant for Celtic with 22 trophies.
I've said it before, Peter. You could put him up with the greats. Your Billy McNeil's and Jimmy Johnson's. 22 trophies is phenomenal. To captain them to the quadruple treble, 620 games. It's a great way to finish it against Hibs. I wasn't there as long, but when I went to Stoke, it's the same. You wait for that last moment. When's the last training session? When's the last time you walk out that door at the stadium? Are you ever going to return there? And it is difficult. And he'll be thinking that now, probably sat at home or in a hotel room, that he'll never ever go back to Lennoxtown. Next season you'll be thinking different scenarios, and his last game for Celtic tomorrow. So no, I think he's been a wonderful captain, and I think it's been the right decision for him. little bit of uncertainty who's going to be manager next year at Celtic. He's made that decision himself. He's going to go to Aberdeen, and they're getting a good player with vastly experience, and he's going to help the young lads. So, fair play to him, and he's got to enjoy tomorrow. And I think they will win this game comfortable. I would go 4 or 5-0, and I think Rangers will win 4 or 5-0 as well.
Yeah, okay. That's been your catchphrase over the season, Charlie. We've thoroughly enjoyed it. A comfortable 3-0 win for Rangers, or indeed anybody. Comfortable's been your catchphrase. It's been brilliant. Even John Kennedy expects Jack Ross to play a weakened team.
Yeah, I think Jack's kind of said he'll probably look to make a few changes himself, which makes sense. They've had a busy week themselves. They've got the cup final next week, and if we were in that position, we'd certainly be looking to not take risks with guys who've maybe played a lot of games and maybe your more important players. So I'd expect them to make some changes. But again, they've got a very good squad. Jack's done a terrific job, at Hibs, obviously consolidating third place in the league, which is the first time in a long time, and obviously getting them to a cup final. So it's a great achievement by Jack and his staff.
Yeah, just before we talk about St Johnstone against Livingston, Tam, obviously some breaking news that there won't be fans in the cup final if we are not in level 2 by then. Of course, Glasgow's not moving into level 2 on Monday. This is because of obviously the Indian variant, which this could stretch for another week. That's a real worry.
It is. Listen, everything's up in the air at the minute, Peter. It could be, it changes week to week. We're talking about this Indian strain coming over and stuff, and as I said, those 600 tickets could be none, and that would be devastating, I think, for some of the supporters who maybe get in, and for the players who want their mum and dad to go, or their partners. So we just have to wait and see. But everybody's fed up of it, isn't they? We're fed up of this. We just want to get a clean run through, and we can go and get back into stadiums and get back and live our lives again. But seems to be just dragging on a wee bit.
Yeah, absolutely. If Charlie's favourite word is comfortable, mine's is scunnered, which I think sums up exactly where we are with this whole COVID thing. But St Johnstone against Livingston, they've been affected, St Johnstone, with COVID. It might well affect not only his selection for the game against Livingston, but it will almost certainly have an impact on his cup final team if this continues. Callum Davison said he did indeed have his cup final team all picked in his mind, but he might have to change.
It's a real difficult one, because they probably asked me 2 weeks ago if I had my team in my head for the final. I'd probably say yes. Ask me now, totally different. So I'll need to assess all the players, how they come through it, how they train, how they're looking. So it'll be a tough one next week, but we'll have enough time to plan. No problems with that, and I just hope everybody tests negative on Monday, and then we can look forward to the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be great if he did have his full strength side, Roughie. I mean, you want him to have that going into the cup final.
Yeah, you wanted the players personally that have been there for the whole season. The players that have been in the league and the cup games, the guys that have served the club right through the whole season. And if they're the guys on form, you'd want them available. Nobody wants to miss out in a final through an injury. So he'll know personally himself the guys that he'll want to leave out tomorrow, to give them a chance to be fully fit for the final. So again, his team selection will be really important as well. I don't know what Livy will be thinking about. There's players reported to be leaving there and all that carry on. So team selection's big in all these games. So we'll have to wait and see what they are.
What's your prediction?
I'm going to go St Johnstone 2-0.
Oh, even with maybe changes to the side. Livy seem to be still up for it because David Martindale wants them to finish on a high.
And the last third of the season's been a wee bit disappointing, to be honest. I think we all feel that disappointment, but when the season ends, I think we'll all sit back and reflect and look back in hindsight and say what a fantastic season it's been. But you can't do that till you get the St Johnstone game over and done with. I think if we can finish fifth, that probably will hide a wee bit of that disappointment we've felt the last third.
I've gone for St Johnstone to win it 2-1, Tam.
I've went the opposite. I think Livingston will win. I've went for Livingston to win 2-1. I think that St Johnstone, again, cup final coming up in a week's time, whoever he plays, they're not going to be flying into tackles. I think St Johnstone will play a weak team as well. And I think that Livingston have got just got more to play for a wee bit to get that fifth spot. So I'll go for Livingston 2-1.
Charlie?
I'm with Tam. I think Livy will win 1-0. I think Callum will make as many changes as possible, and he'll you know one thing about David Martindale's team, they'll be at it, won't they? And I think they'll nick it 1-0.
Yeah, St Mirren Dundee United, nothing at stake, to be perfectly honest with you. But there's a major blow for Dundee United. Mark Connolly's been ruled out for several months after rupturing a cruciate knee ligament in Wednesday's draw with Motherwell. It's just your worst nightmare, that type of injury. So that's a blow for them. But St Mirren against Dundee United, I'll cut to the chase. I think it's going to be 1-1. It'll be after you, Claude. Everybody shaking each other's hands. Oh, that was a great pass. On you go. Fantastic. Great night. And good night to the season, Tam. Have I summed it up?
It's the last game of the season. I mean, Charlie's probably played in these games as well. There's nothing at stake, really. And St Mirren might play a few youngsters. Dundee United, definitely, they played 3 or 4 youngsters during the week. And I think one of them scored, is it Mikkelsen? So, all depends on the teams. I think St Mirren will just sneak it 2-1. But any result wouldn't surprise me. So, I'll go for 2-1 to St Mirren.
Okay, apologies to some of our Facebook people. Obviously, we do get the odd strange algorithm that sometimes affects the live broadcast on Facebook, but we're still alive and kicking on YouTube and Twitter as well. I can't wait for us all to be back in the studio next season. Please let us all be allowed to be sitting next to each other on a couch, or it will do my boxing. Anyway, apart from anything else, we'll try and sort that problem out for you. Here's the predictor. Roughie, it's tight. I had a fantastic midweek. Tam had an absolute shocker. We knew it was going to happen. He's just got a slender lead, Roughie, and we're on his tail. Wouldn't it be amazing if one of us somehow managed to snatch it on the final day?
Well, I've said to you all along, this for me isn't about winning. It's about being second. Because if you're last, it costs you a few bob. So I'm not really looking for the trophy this year. I'm looking just to nick in front of somebody. And there are some varying scores here, so I think everybody who's listening and has been eager all season will be looking at the results at the end of the Sunday, see who it is.
Pick for the Mirren game?
1 each.
Let me Peter again.
Oh, 1 each. What did you go, Tam? What did you go?
2-1 to St Mirren.
Yeah, that's great.
One good. They play a strong team.
I have to tell you something. It's going to go right down to the wire. It's going to be absolutely amazing to see how it all finishes up. But nevertheless, Charlie, it's a big weekend for yourself. I mean, it's just fantastic. Saturday night, Dens Park. I'll tell you one thing. It would have been bouncing with Dundee fans there for this one. I actually, no disrespect to Wraith Rovers, but you're 3-0 up. You're in a commanding position. I genuinely hope you get there because we need...
Did you not say we'd get beat 3-0 in the week? Did you know? Is that what the text I got?
No, it was Tam, the snake. He slaughtered you. It was unbelievable. He reckoned you'd be subbed after 20 minutes because you would be breathing out your back end. But anyway, you're 3-0 up. I think we need a team like Dundee in the Premiership. No disrespect to Killie or Ross County and the way it pans out, but you know, it would be everything that the club wants to try and get past Wraith Rovers and then one more hurdle, Charlie.
Yeah, listen, Tam's been there, so it's, you know, using experience that, you know, we probably have had 6,000-7,000 there, probably even a full house tomorrow night. And, you know, listen, we're in a good position, but we just need to do what we done the other night, disciplined and you know, counter-attack well. But it doesn't give you guarantees of winning football matches, so we have to, you know, we'll have to win the fight as well, and hopefully, you know, come Saturday night, we're in that final, and we could be looking to see what happens on Sunday, and we'll prepare for that. And it's a great challenge. It's what I signed up for, and hopefully we can get there in the end. Because, like you say, Peter, the Premier League next year is going to be brilliant. You know, so many big clubs, Hearts, Hibs. You know, Rangers, Celtic, Aberdeen investing. It's going to be great, and hopefully we can be part of that.
Yep, absolutely. Listen, good luck to your boys. I think they'll win, Roughie, with a couple of goals to spare.
Yeah, I mean, I know that winning 3-0 in the dressing room, you'll feel confident, but it's what way you go about it. You know, do you settle with what you've got, and you know they might nick one, but if you get one, it's all over, done and dusted. So it's not a nervy night. It's just a wee bit of tension around
it's
the corner
nerves.
well, it will be nerves as well, but. Because you don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
You don't know how it's going to go. We've seen a lot of games this year that have been turned on their head, but I don't think this one will get turned on its head. I think they've done enough.
Yeah. So it's not a nervy night, but there will be nerves.
He said this. He said it's nerves. He said there'll be nerves. I certainly will be nervous. I'll not be nervous watching it.
He'll be sat with a gin in his hand. He's already been promoted, isn't he?
No, Dundee have been one of the teams that we've been supporting all year.
I bet you.
Yeah, through the WhatsApp group. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Neil Gray's got a very good point here. He says, Peter, what will happen if you're all tied in the Predictor? Well, here's what will happen if we're all tied in the Predictor, because somebody mentioned this to me today. I was talking to someone about the night out and how obviously you like a good staff night out. On this one, it's going to be the Predictor. The loser pays for the other two guys' meal and a really expensive bottle of wine. And I think if we're all tied in the Predictor, Tam, then I think we've got to do what I think Celtic did a few years back, which is basically everybody puts their card in the in the bag, and then last out pays for it. Is that fair, Roughie?
I've had that experience myself. I've had that experience myself.
That was Stephen Kenny phoning me there.
At Jay Crawford's wedding over in Marbella, and the wee boy who used to wee singer, Jim Diamond.
Yes,
Jim Diamond. Yeah, he was his best man, and Jim Diamond came up with that suggestion. There was 24 of us that would all put our cards in somewhere, and whoever's card pulled out paid the €10,000 for the meal. I fainted. I did a John Cleese. You know that John Cleese one where you just fall down and kid on your past it. It never worked well. It never. I don't think it.
No.
The three of us won't be too bad.
Yeah, I suggested, Tam, that if it were all tied, the Predictor, then we put three cards in and we pull out the card of the person who's going to pay for the meal. Is that fair?
Aye, that's fine. Mine might decline.
Okay, that's fair. Absolutely. Peter Ham's just blanked you for asking that. Absolutely has. Anyway, apart from anything else, listen, it's all been a bit of good banter. Well, even the dogs allowed it and enjoyed it as well. Just a couple of people have been asking. There's obviously some specials throughout the summer. We're going to be doing some great one-to-ones with a few special footballers, so hopefully you'll enjoy that. With a bit of luck, we'll have some exciting news for you of our plans for the summer and beyond on PLZ Soccer and the Football Show, so hopefully you'll stick with us. And as ever, we obviously are absolutely delighted at your unwavering support for us across all our social media outlets. A couple of things before we go quickly. It ended up Man United 2, Liverpool 4, Charlie. Jurgen Klopp suddenly giving them just a fighting chance.
Yeah, I did say that that result for Chelsea in midweek has opened up a little bit, and Liverpool are bang in there again, and a couple of results, and they could sneak in at the end. So listen, hopefully they can do it, but West Ham are still sitting there as well, 3 points behind. They might have a chance. So it'll be a battle between they two, and hopefully, let's say, one of them can get in there.
Yeah, Jurgen Klopp happy to win at Old Trafford.
I would say we needed it tonight the most, pretty much, and so we did it. And yeah, but I know it's very tricky. That's why it took so long until we did it. But it was. I think tonight was really deserved against the team in form. It was really deserved tonight, and so I'm really, really pleased with the way we played. We had difficult moments in the game, but we overcame them.
Good win for Liverpool against Manchester United. Just before we go, again, there'll be lots of specials, so keep your eye out on PLZ Soccer for that. But on Monday, we've got a very special programme. I'll be giving you details of that just shortly. All that remains for me to say is good luck to Charlie at the weekend. 3-0 up against Wraith Rovers in their playoff. Thanks to Tam, to Charlie, to Roughie, and from myself, Peter Martin. We'll leave you with details. If you get a chance, don't forget to follow us on Facebook and hit the subscribe button on YouTube. But on Monday, we have a special tribute and documentary we'll be showing following all the season that Rangers have had. It was either going to be winning the 10 or stopping the 10. And we leave you tonight with details of what Monday's show is all about from 4 o'clock. Hopefully you can join us for a fabulous insight into this unbelievable season for Steven Gerrard's Rangers, where they managed to stop the 10. Good night.
In August, the stands across the country may have been empty, but all eyes were on the Old Firm clubs more intensely than ever before.
With Celtic winning 9 and then them having this kind of entitlement of we're going to get 10. And I think from a year ago, Rangers didn't look as if they could stop it.
Beating Celtic at Celtic Park the first game, I think that was completely pivotal.
I don't know where this is coming from. Totally rampant last season to being very sort of passive in a play.
It's extremely important how we react from this. You've got two choices. You either let it linger, you feel sorry for yourself, or you react in the right way, you stand up and be counted.
For me to be called to be sacked, why? Where's the realism behind that? What for?
Listen, we've had a good month, and I think the focus is always on us in terms of comparing elsewhere. We need to focus on what we need to do.
We did not abuse any privilege. We did the right things. We were absolutely, totally professional.
March presents the opportunity to get over the line in terms of the league. We want to go and grab that as quick as we can. We don't want to wait. We don't want to stumble. We want to go and win this league.
The league was a be-all and end-all. You know how important it was for both clubs, and Rangers have come up trumps.
This is the story of how Rangers stopped 10 in a row.
Expect the best used car deals.